Hello everybody. In the previous video, we learned a little bit about the Greenfoot environment. We saw the difference between the world and the actors. We edited and played around with a bit of the code of the world, and we created our first actor called the snake. Now we obviously don't just want them to sit around here. We want to be able to control and play around with them. And we're going to be writing our first piece of code for the snake. So we're going to right-click on the snake and open the editor. And you can see that Greenfoot has already written some basic code to get us started, but we want to do some more complicated stuff. We have the act method, which is written over here. And this act method will be running a couple times every second while the game is running. So anything we want our snake to do during the game, we are going to write in this act method. All right, so what exactly do we want the snake to do? We want him to move left and right, but only if a key is pressed. So only if a key is pressed, we want a certain code to be running. And in order to do that, we can write an if statement. And an if statement essentially creates a fork into the road. If the if statement is true, it will go into that line of code. And if it is not true, it will skip that line of code. So we write an if statement. We have our regular brackets, and this is where the if statement is going to be written out. And then we have our curly brackets, and that's the code that's going to run if the statement is over here is true. And if it's not true, it's going to skip those curly brackets and keep running on the regular code. So we're going to check in this if statement if a certain key is being pressed. And if that key is being pressed, we're going to do something in this curly bracket. And luckily, Greenfoot already has a method for that. So we can call that method. Just type out Greenfoot is key down. And you can tell again that this is a method through these brackets here. And we're going to have to give it an argument and tell it which key we want down. So let's do the left arrow key. So we can see that if this key is down, the left one, something's going to happen. And just notice over here that when we type out methods that have several words in them, like is key down, each word is differentiated between a capital letter. So the first word is, and then the second one is key, and the key has the capital letter and also down. So just keep notice of that. And also when we start writing out our own method, we will also be doing that to keep things organized. So we have if the left key is down, that's the statement. And if it is, we're going to go into these curly brackets. And what's going to happen if the key is down? We're going to want to change this location, the location of our actor, the X location of the actor by a minus value. So we have another method for that called set location. And then we can give it the location. So the y, so we're going to take the current location, which is get x minus 5 and get y. So let's just take a look at what we're seeing here. We got a set location method, which gets two arguments for it. It's going to get an x value and a y value. The y value is just the current value that the image is already in, the actor is already in. We don't want it to go up and down. And the x value is having minus 5 added to it. Let's compile. Sorry, every statement that we write in Java needs to be closed off with the semicolon. Compile that. We have no errors. And if I click run, you can see that if I hit my left arrow, he's going to be moving to the left. Okay, so let's just go over that code again. We have an if statement, which is in the act method, running every couple of seconds. Sorry, every time per second. If the key down is left, it's going to go into this set of code. We're going to call the set location method, which gets two arguments. One of them is the x value, the other one is the y value. The y value is just the current y value of the actor, and the x value is the current x value minus 5. And that's making it turn left. All right, and now I just want him to also be able to move to the right. I'm just going to copy and then paste it over here. And I don't want to check if the left key is down. I want to check if the right key is down. And if it is, I don't want to -5. I want to add 5. And that's going to make him move to the right. Compile that. Let's see that it's working. And you can see that I can now move both left and right. Okay, and I just want to see something. Let's see what happens if I change this 5 into, let's say, 20. And then I'm going to change this into 20 as well. Let's just see how this is going to affect my game. Click on run. And we can see that he's moving far faster and jumping, making far bigger jumps than before. And this might actually be useful in later versions of the game. Perhaps I want to give him some sort of power-up that makes him move much quicker, or something that allows my character to maybe slow down time so he can move far quicker around the world. And I don't want to constantly go into this code and change this value over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. And a variable is essentially a number that I can update throughout the game. So I'm going to write that right up here. I'm going to give the snake a variable. I'm going to call it movement. And I'm going to have it starting to equal to 5. Now, a variable, I said, is a number, but a variable can actually be anything. It can be a word. It can be an object, like the snake, as we've seen before. So when we're declaring a variable, we first need to tell the computer what it is. Int is just short for integer, so it's a number. Then I'm giving it a name, calling it movement, and having it equal to 5. So now, whenever I talk about movement, my computer is going to know that I mean 5. And if I change movement later in the game, then obviously this movement is going to be updated. So now, instead of writing this -5 and +5, I'm just going to write minus movement, and over here I'm going to write plus movement. All right, now it doesn't seem like I've done much, since before I had written -5 over here and +5 over here, and now I've just, instead of writing out those values, I've given that 5 a name, called it movement, made it equal to 5. So it doesn't seem like I've done much, but the interesting thing about this is that I can update this movement value throughout my game. So let's say I want to add another option over here, which will be if I hit the A button, I'm going to get a boost and kind of have my character be able to move far quicker. So if the A button is key down, this time I'm going to write A. So if the A key is down, we are going to change the movement to 20. Let's just see what that will look like. And we're going to write movement equals 20. So if I hit the A key, I'm going to change my movement to 20. And then my character is going to move this time by 20 and not by 5. Let's compile that again. So let's see how this looks. You can see that when I hit the button, he's moving very short steps. If I press A, you can see that he's moving far quicker because now my movement is equal to 20 and before it was equal to 5. So using variables is essential to all our games so that we can update things as we move along and not just have a number that's stuck over here and that we can't later update. All right, so in this video, we used some variables and some if statements in order to get our snake to move. In the next video, we will introduce the ball and apply some physics to it so it can jump around. Be sure to leave us your thoughts and questions in the comments and like the video, and thanks for watching.